Hello guys, welcome back to the series of Python programming. So as you know, in this series we are going to see, or we are actually seeing, all the important concepts of Python starting from the basics. Fine. So we have almost seen all the beginner level, or we can say all the basic concepts like how to use loops, how to use conditional statements like if, else, while, for, everything we have seen in in our previous videos of the series. In case you have not seen those videos and you want to learn from basics, you can go to the link in the description and you can watch the previous videos. Fine. So today what we are going to learn is, we are going to learn try except in Python. So you must be knowing that if you are dealing with any other programming language like C, Java, .NET, anything else, so normally what we are doing for error handling, we are using something known as try catch. Fine. That means what? That whenever you are writing some piece of code inside the try block, in case there is any error, that error will be handled by the catch block that is written after the try block, right? So we all know about try catch block, but in Python, instead of try catch block, we are having try and except block. So how it is working, what are the different variations, I will show you everything with the help of different examples. So let's start the video. First of all, as I told, what is try block? The try block lets you test a block of code for errors. That means inside the try block, if you write any lines of code and there is any error, then that error, then the program will not execute suddenly. What it will do is that error, whatever error is there, that error can be handled by the except block. So what will happen, normally we will write try block first and then we will write except block. Fine. So let me show you directly with the help of example. Like this, you have to write try, then colon. Fine. So for try block, we will be writing the keyword try. So after this, we will be having, we can write our code. So let's say I am simply writing that print I. Now after every try block, we need to write a catch block. So what will happen, that if there is any error in the try block, in the catch block that error can be handled. If there is any error in the block inside the try block, so in the catch also we have to write catch followed by colon, and then you have to write that in case there is any error in the try block, what you want to do in the catch block. So let's say I again want to print that there is an exception. Fine. So let's run it. See, if you simply okay, try catch, sorry, in Python we are not having try catch, we are having try and except. So here we will be having except, except block. Fine. Now if you simply see this, so is there any error in my try block? Yes, because what I have written, print I. But what is this I? I have not defined I at all. So here in this case, obviously there is an error, that the compiler will not be able to understand that what is I. So what will happen, that it will throw the exception. So let's see what happens here after running this program. So it is, see, it is giving the error that there is an exception. That means what? When this except block will be executed, it will be executed only if there is an error that is observed in the try block. Only if there is a error in the try block, then and only then the execution comes to the except block. Fine. So what is happening here, that I have printed I inside the try block, but I have not declared any I. There is no value of I. So what is happening? It is throwing the error. It is directly executing this except block, and there I have written that print there is an exception, and so it is printed here. See, if try block, but see, your program is executed properly and then this message is printed, so the user will get to know that okay, this is a problem. But in case you are not writing try and except, see, in case you are writing without try except, you are writing this thing alone, so what will happen, your program will stop abruptly, and as you can see here, it will give you system generated error and indentation. Okay, fine, indentation is alright, but then it will show you that there is some error in the line 2, print I. Okay, let's say we are writing like this, name I is not defined. Got it? So what will happen that without try block your program will stop abruptly, and it will give you like this red color system generated error that name I is not defined. So if you don't want your program to stop abruptly, if you want your program to execute properly and give you a proper defined error that you want to be shown, you can use the try except block. So what will happen that in the except block you can write the proper error, and that proper error will be shown to the user. So it is always good to enclose your code inside the try block, so that whenever in case there is any error, it will be shown to user in a very structured and proper manner. Fine. So like professionally, whenever we are coding professionally, whenever we are coding in any organization for any good program, in case you want to be a good program, so it is a good programmer, so it is always a good practice to enclose your code by try except block. Fine. Okay, now except this try except, these two blocks are already there. Now we are having one third block that is known as finally. So what happens in the finally block? The finally block lets you execute the code regardless of the result of the try and except block. That means what I told, that when the except block will be executed, whenever there is any error in the try block, then and only then your except block will be executed. But what about this finally block? This finally block will always be executed irrespective of your try and except block. So what normally what is the order? First of all we are writing try block, then we are writing except block, and after that we are writing finally block, and this block of code that is written inside finally, it will always be executed. Fine. So let me show you an example. Okay, actually finally block is fine, I will show you the example, but before that let me show you that here in the screen, in the first example that we have seen, we have just used try and except. Fine. Try and simple except, that if there is any error in the try block, it will come in the except block. But in the except also you can define the error. That means if you want to print one message, if the try block raises a name error and other for other error. See, actually we are having different types of error, like name error, value error, if your number is overflowing. So we are having different kinds of error for different categories. So in case you want to define your except block as per the error, that means if this type of error is there, I want to print this, but if this type of error is there, I want to print another message. So you can bifurcate like that also. See, for example, what I have done in the try, I am trying to print I, and as you can see in my output, that what error generally I am getting. See, when I tried to print I alone, what error I am getting, you can see here that name error, name I is not defined. That means I was getting name error, right? So this name error is the type of error. So what you can do, you can mention it, that except name error, you can mention the type, that if there is name error, what I want to print, let's say I want to print that there is an exception because variable is not defined. Let's say I want to let the user know this whole thing in a descriptive manner, and in case there is any other error, in case there is no name error, there is any other error, then it will come to this simple except block, and it will simply print a general message, something like something is wrong. Let's run it now. Yes, now it was name error. We have already seen that it was name error because I is not printed. So it will give you a definite message that there is an exception because variable is not defined. So this error is printed. Now so got it, that how it will work? First of all, this try block will try to execute. Now if there is any error in this try block, it will find out that which type of error is there. here we have mentioned that name error. So in case the error that is got inside this try block is of the type name error, then this except block will be executed, and if the type of the error that is occurring is anything else than this particular error, then this general error will be executed and this block will be executed. So this will be printed, that print something is wrong. That means we don't know definitely what type of error is there, but yes, we want to let the user know that there is something wrong, so we are printing something is wrong. Got it? So this is how it is working. Now, so the moral of the story is, if you know that there is any possibility of 2 to 3 error, like if you already know the possibility of the type of errors, you can write them definitely, that you can write them specifically, that except type of error. So you can write multiple except blocks, that if this type of error is there, I want this message, if this type of error is there, I want that message. So like that you can write n number of except blocks as per your requirement or as per your knowledge, that if 3-4 types of error are generally occurring, then you can specify them one by one according to your along with your definite message that you want to print. Fine. So this is one case. Now apart from this multiple excepts, one more case is there where we are using else keyword. So we can use the else keyword to define a block of code to be executed if no errors were raised. So see, that means what? Let's say I'm writing the try block. Now if there is any problem in my try block, I want to print, okay, let's say, let's remove this. Now what I'm doing is that if there is any problem in my try block, I want to print inside this except, I want to print that something is wrong. But if nothing is wrong, ultimately my else block will be executed, where I am printing that all is well. Got it? Now let's run it. Here obviously print I is not defined, we know that that is a problem, so there is some error in the try block. So this except is, this block is executing where what is written, something is wrong. But in case nothing is wrong, then this except will not be executed, this else will be executed. So let's say I am printing some static message called hi. Now let's run it. Hi, all is well. Got it? That means what? First of all, try block is executed, that print hi. There is anything wrong? No. Normally I have written print hi, so hi will be printed properly. So there is nothing is wrong here, so it will not go to the except block, it will directly go to the else block, where I have written that print all is well, means there is no problem. So hi, after hi, all is well is printed. So got it? This is the use of else keyword that we can use along with try and except block. I hope you got it. Now let me show you one example of finally block that I have already told you. So what is finally block? Irrespective of try and except block, finally block will always be executed whatever you have written inside that. So let's say we are having print hi except something is wrong. If there is any error, something went wrong will come. Otherwise, let's say in finally I am writing that print try except is already executed. So let's run it. So print hi is there, no error is there in this line, so it will not go to the except block, it will directly go to the finally block and it will print that try except is already executed. So as you can see in the output, hi is printed and then try except is already executed is printed. Now in case I'm writing some wrong code here, for example again I am writing print I, let's say what will happen. So see, try is executed, there is something wrong, so except is executed, something is wrong is printed. Now again after that, at the end of try except, irrespective of your code has any error or not, finally block will always be executed and here it is printed that try except is already executed. Got it? So both, in both the blocks it is going and it is executing it. Fine, it is very simple. So what is happening, that in finally block whatever you will write, you will it will always be executed after your try block and catch block, sorry, try block and except block. Fine. Now just one more case that I wanted to show you is you can also raise your exception inside any if condition. That means on the basis of some condition you can raise your exception. Let's say how. For example, x is any variable and you are giving the error, you are giving the assigning the value, let's say minus 6 to x. Got it? Now what I want to do is I want to raise an exception if the value of x is less than 0. Let's say, so I am specifying that if the value of x is less than 0, that means if the value of x is negative, then I want to raise exception. I want to raise exception that sorry, negative numbers are not allowed. Got it? What we are doing? See. So as you can see here, our x value is less than 0, our x value is less than 0, that is the value of x we have printed is minus 6. So it is giving us exception that sorry, negative numbers are not allowed. That means we are raising this exception explicitly. So similarly you can do here, in which of the practical problems it is used. For example, you are creating any form, registration form, let's say registration form, and there you are asking for age. So in age, obviously we know that the value of age should always be greater than 0. Fine. So in that case you can raise such type of exception that whenever the user is entering any less value, less than 0 or any negative value, you can say that sorry, negative numbers are not allowed, please enter the positive values. Got it? So this is one very good example that is used practically also. That means whenever you want to raise explicit, like you want to raise any exception explicitly on the basis of any condition, you can do that. Fine. So similarly, like any condition, here the condition we have used is that the value of my x should always be greater than 0. Negative numbers are not allowed. Similarly, let's say you want to allow only string values, or you want to allow only integer value. Fine. Again, let's say there is a field of age in your form, and in the age field you want the user to only enter the integer value. So if the user has entered some value like hi, you can check it out here that if not type of this x, with the help of this type of x, it will give us the data type of x. So if I am writing that if not type of x is int, what I want to raise exception? I want to raise exception saying that sorry, only integer values are allowed. Fine. What I have done, user is giving the value of x, I am writing that if not type of x is integer, here I am checking that if the type of x is anything else than integer, I want to raise the exception with the message that sorry, only int values are allowed. Now let's run it. See, the exception is throwing that sorry, only int values are allowed. In case I will write the correct value here, let's say I am writing the age as 22 and let's run it. See, the code is executed properly without any exception, you can see in the output. Got it? So these are just some of the variations, and I have also told you that how you can use it in your real applications, real life applications. So this try, except, finally blocks are very important. I have also shown you how to raise user defined exception as you can see in this screen. So all these things are very important to know. We are using them in day-to-day life, in day-to-day codes. So I hope you have got very clearly that what is the use of try, except, finally how to raise exception based on any condition. I hope you have got all those things. Try it yourself. In case you have any doubt, you can always ask in the comment section. Fine. So that's all about today. We will again meet in the next video with some new topic. Thank you so much.